First to enter the cage from England, Paul Reid. His opponent from England, Brad One Punch Pickett.
Okay, you ready? You ready? Let's fight.
They say in boxing, be first, and that's the key to this fight. Paul Reid waiting with that right hand, you can just see it. That right hand is waiting to get thrown.
Yes, and as we thought at the moment, both testing their boxing skills out.
There's one thing I really like that Brad is doing. He's anticipating the left hook of Reid and ducking, and he's ducked under two really bomb-sized left hooks from Reid. See, Reid is dropping his left hand down before he throws the left hook.
That's right, Brad seeing it, spotting it, moving well, dropping down.
But that jab of Reid's, wow, that's a good left jab.
That was a hard shot. A couple more hard shots land, they trade.
Well, this is living up to the pre-fight hype, guys. Both men said they would stand and trade, and they both had success. And they both look very sharp boxers.
I think Brad should...
Oh! Big left hook!
That was
sees Reid go down.
Man,
wow!
That was out of nowhere. He caught him clean, and I thought he freeze-dried him right away with one shot. But Reid is back in the game.
Brad with the crucifix position, looking to tie up an arm and fire shots inside mount position now. Trying to control Paul Reid, force him to his back, needs to be careful as Reid works for guillotine.
Brad has got mounted position. Reid is being a very unsavory fish, but Brad's got back control now. Hooks. Got both hooks in. Brad could be on the verge of a finish here if he can get the choke. He's got the arm over. Brad is close. He's getting close. Reid has to be very careful and keep his chin down.
Doing a great job of turning in, trying to work his body inwards towards Pickett, stopping that choke from getting clean in and under. Brad chasing the back at the moment.
No time allowed, really, for Paul Reid's head to clear from that shot.
No, but he cleared up fast and he was fighting good from being controlled from the top. Brad had side control. He was blasting away. I'm surprised because the way he went down, I thought that was it.
Pickett working that arm in and under, trying to work the choke. Reid does a good job, turns out well. Guard position for Brad Pickett now.
That was a beautiful turnabout of events. Paul Reid definitely back in this scrap.
And full credit to him there, as you said, that was a one-shot knockout that we all felt.
Wow, yeah, it looked like he had him. But now Brad's in a bad position again, getting kneed in the head. He's got that front face lock, front headlock position, almost a guillotine. But Brad's got to be careful not to eat too many of those. Things were going so well for Brad earlier. Now all of a sudden Paul's back to standing, doing what he does.
Some good knees landing. Pickett trying to block him, defend him.
The thing is with Paul Reid, he doesn't look like a real technical fighter, but he has his own technique and his own methodology in getting the job done.
Pickett
short
shakes
left
free.
hook there from that Rob, from Reid.
That's right, he shakes free, gets caught with a left hook on the way out. Pickett with a Superman punch that lands.
That was a good scoop of an underhook to prevent the takedown by Pickett. Pickett using beautiful hip control standing to avoid a hip toss.
And that will come from his experience at ATT, working with great wrestlers like Mike Brown.
I'm telling you, Paul Reid's a lot bigger than Brad in this fight, and Brad just took him down.
And you
Big
can see the
across
cut.
the nose, Rob, right across the bridge of the nose.
That's right. It's
running into that left eye.
Boy, this has been a brawl for sure.
It's lived up to the hype, that's for certain.
Certainly has. Brad looking to fire the knees to body now to weaken Paul Reed. Paul Reed trying to turn in.
Yeah, Paul Reed trying to get guard, and Paul Reed's escape from back control earlier on in this round was very impressive. But now he's mounted again. But the problem is when you've got a bigger guy and you're mounted on top of him, he's got a chance to flip you over.
Pickett pops his head free, looks to begin striking. Reed turns. Pickett looks for an armbar. Reed pops his arm free. Reed inside mount position. End of the first.
Dazzling first round, guys. Superb stuff upstairs and downstairs.
Now here it is again. Brad got shot down the middle, right upside the forehead with a hard left jab. But it's Brad scooping down with almost like a swatting left hook. Paul was looking at him as he came down. Brad trying to finish with some grounded pound. Here it is again. Brad coming in. It was basically a hook off a jab. He threw the jab, then threw the left hook. It's a classic boxing technique. And here we have back control by Pickett, but we've got the rollover, as you talked about, Rob, in order to escape that beautiful escape.
It was a very, very good escape. Great technical ability by both these fighters. Both performed very, very well in that round.
I think that Pickett knows that he is the better technical fighter, but he's having to battle the strength. And Reed, because he's not that technical per se, but he knows how to get out of things, it's going to be harder for Brad to get him into a submission, obviously, like he was able to escape the first round.
And Rob, Brad's right eye, there's a mouse coming up under it from the accuracy of that left hand.
There is, it looks like it's swelling up. Again, Reed with a good left hook. Brad needs to be careful here. Reed firing very, very well. And as I say that, they clinch and go to ground. Pickett on his back. Reed doing the smart thing, pushing Pickett to the cage.
Yeah, Brad got the Muay Thai clinch, the plum clinch, and tried for a knee, but having the height disadvantage wasn't a wise idea, and he got taken down. Reed is now going to show what he's shown in so many other fights. Now, this is not good. Brad's got to get out of this because it's possible to get caught in a half a guillotine. We've seen it happen a lot of times, and now Brad's got to really get out of this. He's in a bad position. He's got to get that right leg out.
And Brad is cut as well above his, I think it's his right eye, right above it. Both men bleeding now.
That's right, both men cut. Quite a bit of blood on the mat.
Paul gave up on the choke.
That's right, expending a lot of energy with his arms. Trying to keep that choke in. Pickett top position, half guard. Both guys look as though they're taking a breather at the moment.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of energy being expended by Paul to try and get that choke and by Brad to survive the choke.
There's a lot of blood around the forehead of Pickett at the moment. I mean, they're just above our position. We can clearly see as Pickett looks to mount. Reed makes his way back to his feet. Very strong guy, Paul Reed.
There is a strength factor here, isn't there, Steve, with that size advantage?
There's absolutely a strength factor, and he used the fence to his advantage and got the stand-up again.
Again, Reed looking for that guillotine. Pickett looks to switch to the back, doesn't get it, hooks the leg and wins a takedown.
It was a nice trip takedown. It was out of a nice little spin, too. Brad has got really improved wrestling. I mean, I've seen some great things from Brad Pickett so far in this fight, and that was one of them. You're dealing with a stronger opponent. All he has to do is drop his hips down and keep him back, but he didn't. Brad spun him around, tripped him, got him back down, half guard.
And when we look at the excitement factor, this fight has had everything, hasn't it? And these cuts are just adding another dimension.
This is a peculiar move, but
the crowd seem to enjoy it.
Any change in the balance of power, though?
Well, Pickett has been able to get Paul on his back, but Paul has been very resilient. This is going to be a tough one to score, I would have to say, because Brad has been able to, he's been able to control the action. Maybe the judges are leaning toward him, but Paul has to do something here from the bottom.
Because upright, it was the jab of Paul Reed that caught the eye in this second round.
Yeah, on this second round, Paul Reed controlled the standing action for sure. Not by much, but by a little.
Grant Waltman stands him back up.
Some boos amidst the cheers there.
Well, people want to see, a guy finish on the floor. Brad comes out swinging. Paul is cut as well.
Both guys throwing combinations. End of the second round. And wow, guys, two phenomenal rounds.
Brad Pickett had to really struggle to get out of his habit guillotine, because once Paul got that move, man, Paul wanted to finish him, and Paul really tried to, and I think Paul had to regroup later on, because it takes a lot of energy to try and secure a submission. Here's a beautiful trip. Oh, that was, shall we dance?
I think Paul Reed's strength has probably surprised Brad. You know, he looks to be incredibly strong in there.
And Stephen, with that jab, you'd be saying work that eye. He's cut the right eye of Brad Pickett. Yeah, pump that jab out while you're upright and keep working that eye.
He just landed 2 jabs right as you spoke, Malcolm. And I think Paul is going to just decide, you know, to throw straight punches from the outside, and he should. But
Pickett doubling up on the jab, working his way inside.
One thing Paul is doing is that when Brad attacks, he's moving straight back, and that's letting him get caught with tail end punches of the combination from Brad.
Yes, you need that lateral movement to move away from the punches.
Well, he'll use lateral movement when Brad isn't doing anything, but when Brad attacks him, he moves straight back. See? It's just surprising to me that no man has thrown a kick.
Yes, right throughout the 3 rounds, as you said, we're coming into the 4-minute mark left of this 3rd and final round. And is it in the balance, or is one guy definitely winning at the moment, in your opinions?
Well, it depends on how you rule that first round and that knockdown. If it was a 10-8 round, then that would put Paul, even if he won that second round. Oh! That should about do it.
And he's
man,
dropped Paul Reed again. Brad Pickett literally just throws things out the hat into the ring.
Paul Reed is a solid opponent who's only got 1 loss, and it was a submission loss in his last fight. And he's pretty much cleaned house here in the UK with every other fighter he's fought with a record of 7-1. So Brad Pickett has showed me a lot of growth, and he's fighting a really tough guy. So yeah, I'm impressed with Brad, to be honest. I mean, he's been caught, but Brad Pickett has been a lot closer to winning this fight inside the distance so far than Paul Reed has, in my opinion.
Pickett with a takedown, looks for the double leg. Paul Reed looking for the guillotine choke. Brad tries to scoot out the side, half guard position as Paul Reed looks for the guillotine choke. And you can see from our position, it may be tight, but Brad looks comfortable breathing there.
Yeah, but Paul knows he doesn't have it, especially now that Brad's got side control.
That's right, and it could be trouble for Paul Reed, as we've seen Brad dominate this kind of position before. He'll look to trap the right arm of Paul Reed before firing shots.
The half guillotine works if you get the neck into just the right perfect position. And I've seen some of the Renzo Gracie guys do it so well, where the theory was if you have the arm in the guillotine, you're going to be able to escape. But there's a way that a lot of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners can get you. But Brad knew how to turn his head just to the right angle to where he could breathe.
That's right, looking to trap. The arm moves to mount position, half guard position. Paul Reed does a good job of defending. Into the last 30 seconds now, guys.
Well, I'm telling you, Paul Reed has to do something big, because the 2 knockdowns, the one in the first, one in the last, it's just a thing where Paul Reed has fought a valiant fight, and he's really been in this, and he's been dangerous throughout, but he hasn't been in a position where he was close to getting Brad, other than the guillotine chokes, but those are half guillotines, which Brad was able to escape.
It's over, guys.
And the first of tonight's fights here at the NEC in Birmingham that has gone the distance. But what a thrilling fight. And Rob, I have to agree with Stephen. I think when the dust settles, this is going to be Pickett's fight.
And here we have some of the action with Brad with that flying knee, and Paul went down and it caught him right in the chest. But Paul was still coherent. It didn't catch him on the face. Here we have another angle. Beautiful flying knee. It was right to the solar plexus. Great shot. Brad looked like he was in the position to almost finish. This is definitely going to make the highlight reel.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 15 minutes of featherweight action, we go to the judges' scorecards, and we have a majority decision in favor of your winner, Brad 1 Punch Pickett! And ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for your runner-up, Paul Reed! Wow.